It's our time. It's our time.
Hey there, I'm Shub from North of Normal, and this is One Song, One Story. The concept is simple. Each guest brings a song, and together we explore what it means to them, the memories it holds, the feelings it unlocks, the story it tells about who they are. Today's episode is a little different. For the first time, I'm stepping out from behind the microphone and into the guest chair. My good friend Jim Farfaglia, author of One Song, One Story, turns the tables and interviews me about a song that's been part of my life for more than 3 decades. The song is As One by Sam Brown, and what began as a chance listen when I was 11 years old has evolved into something far bigger. It's a song that's accompanied me through trauma, addiction, healing, fatherhood, and some of the most important turning points in my life. This is a conversation about how a single piece of music can grow alongside us, revealing new meanings as we change, and how sometimes one song can hold an entire lifetime of stories. All right, let's begin. Enjoy. Welcome to the One Song, One Story podcast, Jim Farfaglia. How are you, sir?
How are you doing, Shub? Great to talk to you again.
It is great to see your face, and I'm not sure whether I should be welcoming you or myself because we're switching roles tonight, right?
We are. Yes. How about that?
I know, it's exciting. And I guess just a bit of context for our listeners. So you've been on the show twice now. You've been on for an episode about your special song. And you also did an episode about the book you're writing, which is called One Song, One Story. So this is your third time. You're getting a bit of a seasoned pro. You're like a resident guest now.
Yeah. I don't know if your listeners today know that, do they make the connection? The name of my book and the name of your podcast is how we met through the wonders of the internet. We realized each other existed and hit off of a really great friendship based on that.
Absolutely. And I think since the very start, I've always thought one day I would go under the, put myself on the table, as it were, on the operating table and bring my song. And I think I was probably waiting for the right time, the right person. I think as our conversation and friendship evolved and grew, it kind of felt right that we did this episode together. So I'm going to take off my proverbial host hat and be the guest today. So over to you, sir.
All right. Well, let me just take a moment and thank you for this opportunity. I do think I'm the right person to interview. I don't know the rest of your friends and loved ones and family, but at our core, I think music is so important to us, and the stories of the songs are important to us. So I think it made sense when you asked me, because I don't do this type of work for a living or even for a hobby, but it felt right to want to be the person to hear about your song and story. So I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
Actually, your listeners, should know that I already know the name of your song and I already know some of your story because you kindly contributed to my book, which also came from our connection. You agreed to share, and just a little bit about the book, and I don't mean to get into too much, but the book is chapters, but there are anchor songs in those chapters, maybe 8 or 10, what I call anchor songs. And your song is one of those. And it's not just because of who you are and that you do a podcast. It's because your story. So I'm very excited for your listeners to hear your story.
Yeah. And it was honestly part of the process. I think when I had a song in mind, I knew roughly why it was so special. But I think when I kind of spoke it out and wrote it down to give us a submission to your book, that's when it really came to life, as in really processing and understanding it. So it was a real gift for me to actually really think about it and put it into words. Um, yeah. So
You know, one of
yeah,
the things
really.
I think
Yeah.
I would love to hear from some of the other people you've interviewed because it does, uh, if those of you that haven't had a chance to work with Shub or even just think about why is this song important to me? It's very revealing. And you do that in your podcast, and I've tried to do that with my book too. So I think it's time well spent. So how
Mm.
about we hop in and before we get to your song, I don't know how much your listeners know, and I actually want to know a little bit more about uh, music in your life. So if we could start with, when did music become important in your life? And then maybe a little bit about why and how it did.
Mm. Yeah, I honestly really don't know. I think when I ask people this question, sometimes they seem to have really clear answers on moments and specific moments and songs. But I think for me, I mean, I think music was always around. I think both my mum and dad were always playing music. My
Uh,
dad's immigrated from Pakistan and had this crazy mix of music from his country, but then this other side of kind of 60s
uh,
English Western pop and
oh,
Motown. He was really into
oh,
the Motown girl bands at the time and stuff. And my mum loved to sing. She was always singing and stuff like that. So I think it was always round. Um, in terms of like the earliest memories, I have weird dotted memories of like sitting in the back of a car while my mum was doing some errands and like I Feel For You by Chaka Khan
oh,
playing. And I remember what I was eating. I remember the scene. I remember just thinking like, wow, this is a cool moment. And all these little dotted around moments of listening to music like that. I mean, I was born in 79, so kind
mm,
of growing up in the really young child in the 80s. But yeah, moments of like Chaka Khan being in
mm.
the another time being in the back seat of the car with my friend driving somewhere and Radio Gaga was playing by Queen and just all these little dotted moments in
Oh,
my memory where you just think like not only you associate so much joy and meaning and like a lot of emotion felt when music was on, but it's always been something that kind of moves me in a way that not a lot of other things
mm.
move me, I think.
Yeah. Boy, I wish we had time to talk about "I Feel For You" by Chaka Khan because, oh my gosh, uh, yeah, that's a very interesting song. We won't go down that rabbit hole, but that's really
Yeah,
interesting that you and I share that, because I was also stunned by that song when that came out. Pretty sure that's a Prince song,
it
right? Do you
is.
think?
So yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't hear the Prince song. I'm such a huge Prince fan, and I heard the Prince version, and I didn't think
Oh,
could get any better, and it's so
oh,
different. But when I heard the
oh,
Prince version, I was like, "Oh my God, this is like
oh,
this is
I will
even
check that
better."
out. I will check
Yeah,
that out. Yeah. Okay, so we'll move along here, but so you have this connection to music on an emotional sort of level, deeper level. Um, and I believe that music became a part of your life as a musician. Could you share a little bit of that, or
yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong?
yeah, absolutely. So, um, I think it's always been a huge part. I mean, I think music was always around me. Like my brothers, two of my brothers were really musical, learning instruments like guitar, drums, and doing all these sort of things. I never really could never really get on with lessons, so I never really learned an instrument, but I was always trying. Um, and I always felt like a musician. I always felt like I could make music. I just don't make music because I can't play anything, but I still felt like a musician. Uh, and then probably many, many years later, I think God, I think I must have been in my mid-20s. I bought some instruments. I bought like a bass guitar and a guitar, and just started playing them like I could play them. I couldn't really play, but I just believed so hard I could play them, and I started making music. And then I think probably fast forward another 6, 7 years. Um, I taught myself piano. And I think at that point, I was starting to become really frustrated because I felt like a musician that didn't make music. It just makes no sense. But I was like, I need to make music and I need to figure out how. So I taught myself piano. And I think from the moment I started playing piano, I started writing songs. Um, and that was never the aim, I think, because I'd never really sung or written lyrics before. The aim was to make music. But then I just started writing songs out of nowhere, and that became just something that I did. Yeah, and then lots of things happened since then. I mean, I lost touch with it for many years. Then my elder brother, who's a fantastic musician, started making music again, probably 3 or 4 years ago, and I was like, wow, I want to do that again. I miss that. And gradually, I started making music with him. Like my own projects, he would produce them and work on them, and then we decided to start making music together. So we're now we kind of formed North of Normal, which is we make sync music, so music for TV and film,
Mm,
and we're on a
mm,
real journey there together. So it's not only a beautiful music journey, but it's doing it with my older brother.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and it's going really well. We're kind of learning a lot about ourselves, developing our style a lot,
Mm,
and kind of making some really good
mm.
inroads in the industry. But it's nice. It's nice. I kind of feel I've really I've become a songwriter out of nowhere. Like I can actually say I am a songwriter now,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
and it feels like a gift. I think I've talked
What's
to
it
many
like?
people on here. Yeah.
What's it like to say I'm a songwriter? To hear those words come out of your mouth?
It feels incredible. I think I said it for the first time about a year ago, and I was like, "Wow, that feels
Mm,
good."
mm,
Um,
mm, mm.
because I don't think I ever had the confidence or the belief to say it. Um, but then I believe it now. I think I write songs. I constantly write songs, lyrics, melody, everything. It's something that comes up from within me. So it's like, that's what I do. That's what I do. I can say it with confidence now.
Yeah. I don't know a lot of songwriters, so I want to say how happy I am to know a songwriter through you because after writing this book, and it will continue. My research on music and songs will not end when this book is published. I have so much respect for songwriters, I would imagine, as you've seen and listened to with each of your guests, that someone wrote a song that profoundly affected their life.
Mm.
What a gift! What a gift that is. And so I respect your work and just happy to know you, Shub.
Oh, thank you, Jim. The feeling's mutual. And I think I'm always fascinated when people have such connections to songs. Because like when I write, I find it very interesting when I write a song I'll start with a few words. It happens differently every time, but you start with a few words, and in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, that rhymes with that, and that rhymes with that. I'll throw that together. Um, and then when it's done, you kind of realize, oh, there was something I actually had to say there. I wasn't really thinking at the time or anything, but sometimes it's feels like 5 minutes of throwing words together. Um, and then you send that out into the world. And it's the same, when guests come on here and talk about this powerful connection, I always wonder, I'm like, isn't it fascinating that this artist may have just been 5 minutes send it off and maybe not fully conscious of the impact it was going to have on that listener's years. It's like
Yeah.
5 minutes in their life, but could be a lifetime in someone else's.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And I don't think most people realize what the effect they're having until they listen to a podcast like yours, or maybe when they read my book. Hopefully, a songwriter will get a chance to understand that. Yeah, well, what a great time to maybe move into your song.
Mm.
Uh, Sometime you need to do a different podcast about just songwriting in general. We can talk more about that, but
Yeah.
for the sake of one song, one story, let's do that. And I think we're going to uh, take a pause here for your listeners. You and I are going to listen to the song. Um, and then why don't you tell us the name of the song? And then what we're going to suggest to your listeners right now is you push pause and go ahead and listen to it yourself. Uh, and then we'll come back as a group, the two of us, and then the listeners, and talk.
Yeah, fantastic. So the song I've brought is called As One, and it's by Sam Brown off the April Moon album. Yeah, so let's go listen to it now.
All right. Well, hopefully, listeners, you've taken our advice and listened to that song, because this conversation will mean a lot more. I've probably listened to that song a dozen times since she shared it with me, um, but it hit me pretty profoundly today, Shub.
Mm. Me too. Me
Yeah.
too.
So, yeah, I feel like it's a little bit hard to move into conversation because it's it's a little bit of a surreal feeling. Not the words are not coming to me. Sort of otherworldly. Um, so let's give ourselves a minute to adjust here, and listeners maybe too. Yeah. Any initial reactions to hearing it right now before I ask a question to you, Shub?
It was very different. Very different. It felt for some reason more intense, knowing that I was could very much feel you there and aware of we were both listening to this very intently. Um, so it felt quite powerful in a yeah. Usually I listen to this, on my own in headphones. That's the space I go into, but it actually felt very powerful listening to it in this sort of shared space. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was
Good,
quite surprisingly. Uh,
good point. This is a song that I would think most of us would listen to by ourselves.
mm,
It's not a party song. It's certainly not. It's not a song that um, I would think of in sharing with a small group of friends. I think it's a very personal song. So I appreciate you giving me the time to listen to it with you. Um, I was watching your face as you were listening. You seemed almost meditative.
mm. Yeah, I go somewhere when I listen to this song. Uh,
Well,
yeah.
okay, let's dive in. Let's tell us about this song. How did you find it? Where were you? Give us the details of when this song came into your life.
Mm. So this song was on the April Moon album, which was released in 1990. So I would have been 11. Um, there was a song on it called Kissing Gate, which was on the radio, I think was like a big pop hit at the time. And my 11-year-old self decided that was a really cool song, and I was going to go and buy the album. Uh, and I remember it really vividly. I think I went into what you'd probably call a mall, a big shopping centre called the Metro Centre near me, and we went into a record shop which was called the Virgin Megastore. And at the time, they used to obviously have all the records and CDs there, but they kind of had a wall as you entered with about 50 albums, probably popular albums that they thought people just want to grab these. That's what they're coming for. And I remember seeing the record up there on the shelf. I remember taking it down. I remember buying it. I remember taking it home. I kind of remember everything about this experience and being really excited to listen to Kissing Gate. Because I think that's kind of what I did then. You heard a great song, you bought the album. You didn't need to
Yes.
know what was on there. You didn't download the single. You went and bought the art. Um, and
Was this
I
was this
remember
an actual vinyl album or was it a
this is a
CD?
vinyl album. Yeah, this is a vinyl
Wow.
album.
Oh,
So
okay. Very
I
cool.
think that's an interesting question actually, because I think CDs were a thing at the time. But maybe I was, yeah, I don't know. I think I used to buy vinyl back then.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I remember taking it home. So I was 11. I had my room was like my cave. I painted it purple. I think I even had a crazy purple light in there. So it was like, yeah, it was a bit of a mood on its own. And I remember, so Kissing Gate was fourth song, but I remember putting on the album. Um, and it kind of starts with this doorbell ringing and a few footsteps. Then the first song started, and it just kind of knocked me off my feet. Something that I've only ever experienced with two songs ever in my life, where it just came on, and I felt like someone had kind of punched me in the stomach. I just felt everything go and felt a bit dizzy. And I just sat down on the bed, and that's not even the song I've chose today. And that was like,
Oh, wow. Wow.
once that happened, I was like, oh, okay, I think I'm in for something here. And I think Kissing Gate is like weird how it happens. Kissing Gate is a song that I skip on the album now. I'm not particularly interested, but the rest of the album just became so important to me. But yeah, and this was As One was probably one of two songs, real kind of intimate piano songs that just had a lasting kind of impact on me. So yeah, it's really interesting because some things are so vague through the years. Some memories are so fading, you can't place them. But I remember this like it was absolutely like it was yesterday. Remember that first listen and kind of remember the effect that it had
Mm.
on me.
Can you tell us a little bit about 11-year-old Shub? Like, you don't have to go into a lot of detail, but what was life like for you as an 11-year-old?
Yeah, I mean it was confusing. I think I was probably um, going through all the confusion that a young 11-year-old does. Um, you're not just that innocent child anymore. You're kind of starting to go through puberty and stuff. There's a lot more happening. You're trying to understand who you are. Um, and I should probably give a little bit of a trigger warning at this point that I'm going to kind of mention sexual abuse and things like that. So if anyone feels really triggered by that, then please do what you need to.
Thank you.
But it was, again, the timeline is vague, but it was at this age of 11 that I experienced an incident of sexual abuse as well, which was obviously huge, a huge moment that kind of turned my life upside down. But I've sort of since learned 11-year-old me was completely unable to process. And I don't think that really surfaced for me until mid to late 30s. So it was a bit of a crazy time. Yeah, and I think, that's I think, as I shared to you in what I submitted for the book, I think that was probably a large part of why this song had such an impact on me at the time, and why it's kept coming back to me through the years. Um, yeah, and I can probably, I guess, go into that why I think it hit so hard at the time.
Yeah. You want to share more about why it hit hard at that time?
Yeah, I guess. So I think kind of what happened to me was um, hugely confusing. Obviously, a lot to deal with. Didn't have the tools to deal with it. I wasn't able to tell anyone about it. Because I just didn't really understand what was happening. Wasn't able to tell my parents, wasn't able to tell sort of friends, loved ones. So I was very much alone with this kind of secret, this thing that had happened, alone with all the feelings. Um, so it was my own kind of secret world that I was in, living with this. Whereas on the outside, you're was sort of masquerading as a very confident 11-year-old that was fun loving and everything like that, but very much had an inner world which was very different, probably quite tumultuous, going through a lot of different things. Um, and I think typically when I listen to music, I don't listen to the lyrics. Like my favorite songs, I could be singing for 30 years. If you ask me the lyrics, I just sing the sounds half the time, I'm like happily humming along, singing the sounds. Um, and I can't say that I really, really know the lyrics. Like probably couldn't repeat them off by heart for this song, but when I heard them and when she's singing them, they really, really go inside. Um, and I think this is just a beautifully intimate piano song. And it starts with, there's a child in my heart, feel it beat, hear it speak. And then she just repeats this line, hold me, hold me. And that really, I think that for me at the time, especially the hold me bit, was just this 11-year-old boy that was really had lost innocence, um,
Mm, mm,
and kind of had this notion of a child being held, and I think probably desperately wanted to be held, by my mother, by my father, and I think at that time, when I listened to the opening of this song and the lyrics and that line, hold me," um, it kind of went very deep. It went
mm, mm,
very deep
mm,
indeed, I think.
mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a chapter in my book about coincidence that, songs, is it a coincidence that we hear a song when we hear it? I'm thinking of that a lot right now with you, that this 11-year-old boy that you said that the way you put it was so just sort of your innocence taken away from you, and not kindly taken away from
Mm.
you, or not gradually, but sort of abruptly taken away from you. And what do you need when that happens? You need to be held. You need love and comfort. And along comes this song that somehow gave you that feeling. I'm not saying it took care of everything for you, but it sort of answered that. Does that sound right to you, or is that some of what you were
It
thinking?
it does, and I think um, like the album cover is just this kind of black album cover with her face on. It's kind of her face is kind of black and white. The rest of the sleeve is black, and there's sort of these little shapes floating around her. Um, and I think when I heard this, I kind of went into that space. So I instantly saw Sam Brown in this darkness, this sort of enveloping darkness. She was just playing piano in the middle in black, and I was there watching it.
Mm,
Um, and I imagined she was singing this to me. That's where I put myself, and that kind of felt very comforting. Yeah, it felt like she'd seen me, she was singing to me, and there felt like some comfort to be in that
yeah.
sort of safe space with her.
Yeah. Yeah. Pardon me for keeping bringing up my book. I'm not doing that to hawk my book, but you're just reminding me of what, I several people said the same thing. I felt like that she was singing to me or he was singing to me. And
Mm,
that's just beauty of music and the beauty of recorded music. The beauty of basic music. One of the things I love about the song is I think it's just piano and her voice and maybe another instrument in there, but
mm,
it's very simply put together, and yet in that simpleness, there's so much power. Um, I think healing power. So it's perfectly understandable how an 11-year-old boy could feel like, wow, this woman is singing to me. Wow.
yeah, yeah, it is. Um, yeah, uh,
So
and
did,
like
did,
I
did
said,
you?
it's really never left. It kind of still
Yeah,
feels like that now. Still feels
yeah,
like that now.
yeah. Well, I mean, I think there's that place in all of us, no matter how old we are, that is the child that they call it the inner child, I guess, but that still needs attention and love. And if we haven't worked through our, I know you've done a lot of work in your life, but if for some reason a person hasn't, that inner child still strongly needs the
Mm,
love.
yeah,
And boy, Sam Brown, I wonder if she has any idea what that song has meant to you and probably other people as well.
yeah, God,
So,
yeah.
there you are at 11. So did your life change? Did circumstances change at that, or did the song follow you into your young adulthood? Where does it go from there?
I mean, I'm probably hazy on that. Like, I know this was a big um album for me, and I used to play it a lot. I think that when I kind of left home, I remember leaving home at whatever 18, and I know I didn't take any vinyl with us, right? So whether I listened to it, I think I probably listened to it in those years, but when I was 15, 16, I was discovering so much new music that maybe just took a back seat for a while. And then when I left home, I didn't take it with me. So it felt like there was a large gap, a large period of time where I didn't listen to this song. Um, and then And also, I didn't know there was a large period where I didn't have the vinyl, and you couldn't get it on things like Apple Music. I kind of thought I was never going to be able to hear this album again. And then there was a period, probably in my mid 30s, where actually my another brother who used to listen to a lot of music with, turned up, and he'd kind of burnt it onto his computer somewhere. So we couldn't, it wasn't online, but then we used to listen to it, and he sent it to me, and I kind of reconnected with it again in my 30s, which was again a very, very different phase of life for me. Um, and then it kind of took on another meaning then as well. So it kind of developed in a different way then.
Can you share any of that? I mean, whatever you're comfortable sharing, what was life like for you then, and how did the song affect you at that time?
Yeah. So life was pretty crazy then, I think. I mean, you know, from what happened to me when I was 11, there was, huge amount of suppressed trauma that was bubbling that I didn't really realize was there. So I think things snowballed. There was some hedonism, which turned to a lot more drinking and a lot more drugs and things like that. And then I probably found myself in a spot in my mid-30s where heavily addicted to drink and drugs. I think there was probably about 3 years where every night was at least 2 bottles of wine, 2 grams of cocaine, just and then I wake up in the morning and go to work and hold down a successful job, but I was kind of bursting at the seams in terms of what my body could take. So it was a very, very, very confusing time. And I think when I listened to the song in that time, it used to be back in the space. I used to see Sam Brown playing the piano. I used to see my 11-year-old self there, sat in the space, but then I was there as a 30-odd-year-old as well. And still the same bits resonated. There's a child in my heart, feel it beat, hear it speak. There was still that. Life was so complicated and I felt like I was on a roller coaster. I couldn't get off. I just wanted the simplicity and innocence of being back in that childlike state. And the second verse as well, there's a light in his eyes. I can see deep inside. For me, that was, I guess, kind of multifaceted. First of all, it was looking at myself, saying like, I know there's still a light in there, and I kind of want to get back to that light of who I am, and that sort of sense of happiness. But in the throes of addiction, really way too far gone to know how to stop and how to take care of myself. It was like these moments of reflection where I listened to the song and I was like, I know who I am, who's deep inside, but what's actually happening in the outside world is something wildly different. But there was also a great feeling of, there's a light in his eyes. I can see him deep inside. I was really longing for love, for a relationship, to be in love, to be loved. But I think at the time that was very difficult for me. I think I was a kind of a whirlwind of chaos energy. I don't think I was open enough to love. Wasn't really willing to open myself to love. And really the lifestyle I was living, I had very little time for love. Everything outside of work was drink, drugs, that sort of thing. So it was very tough to kind of get to that place that I wanted, that I knew would nourish me so much. And also, I think at that period, I hadn't even realized what trauma I was suppressing, which I think, really when I started to come to terms with that catapulted me on a journey. But at this stage, I was very much in the stage of haven't even scratched the surface of what could have been going on for me mentally, emotionally, physically. So it was very different. I think it was, as I said, I was now in there with my 11-year-old self and my mid-30s self, sitting while Sam Brown held communion for us both, singing this song to us. And it was different, but equally beautiful.
I don't know if you can say anything else about what it was like to have an 11-year-old self and a 30-something-year-old self sort of sitting side by side, listening to Sam Brown. Can you describe that a little bit more for your listeners?
I mean, I think at the time it was it was pretty heavy, and it was quite sad, because there was very little joy in that space. Um, there was a 11-year-old that had really been hurt, who was just so scared of the world deep down. Um, and then fast forward all those years, and ultimately there was that same child in a man's body going, expressing it in different ways. Um, and it's
So
very
if
strange. I guess kind of through what happened to me and what I've since learned about these sort of states I would get into with drink and drugs is that um, there's kind of is that for some strange reason I kind of run back to this very scary place, but find some sort of solace there.
mm.
Um, so for me, it was both pain and joy. It was like being in this really painful place with myself and this 11-year-old, but also feeling this kind of joy and security of like, this is my little world. So it was very much a mixture of emotions, very bittersweet, painful to be there, but it was somewhere that only I could be. So it was safe.
So I'm thinking of that 11-year-old boy in that bedroom of yours that you painted purple and that you created the space that was your safe space, and you somehow took that with you into your young adulthood,
Mm.
because at that point in time, that's maybe the only thing that felt safe to you or that seemed safe.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think the room, yes, but the safest place for me was my internal world. My internal world was a lot, it felt a lot easier to control than the external world. So just being in the internal world felt like a safe space. Um, and I guess this taking it one stage further is that you put this song on. Now I'm in this song. That feels even safer because I'm like, I know this. I know this song. Uh, and I'm going to that place where that woman sings to me.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, rather than a physical space like a bedroom, it's a space within the context of the song. The song created that space for you, and you knew you could
Mm,
rely on it when you needed it.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, so at the stage of life you are there with that, you're still drinking and drugging, and we probably all know people that if here's a turning point, possibly you could either go down this road or you could either go down this road, and that would depend on what the next phase of your life was going to be. So
Mm.
where did you go from there?
So from there, I'd spent a good few years um, in therapy, which is where I really first uncovered this memory kind of resurfaced. And it's funny you say it's resurfaced because it was never gone. I always knew it was there. It was just something that happened, but I'd never processed it. So I think when I started processing it and lifting the lid, things went really, really crazy for a while because I just felt like I'd unlocked something really mammoth. And then they got so crazy that um, I don't know why. I just decided to go and do ayahuasca. Never heard of ayahuasca before. I think I was in an incredibly high pressure, stressful job, and I Googled holidays in the middle of the Amazon jungle, um, and I found ayahuasca. And looking back, these things happen for a reason. I
Mhm.
probably later learned that there was, however you want to phrase it, it was my time. I was called. There was something there for me. Um, and I went and did ayahuasca, and I think, since then it was life-changing. I've probably been many times, spent many years working with plant medicines, invested in a plant medicine retreat. So that was quite a pivotal moment in my life. But there was profound change that happened. I mean, the first thing that happened is instantly I turned up as a cocaine addict and left not and just no desire to do cocaine anymore.
Wow.
I was probably not only shown things about myself that gave me a huge sense of healing, perspective. There was a lot of stuff physically taken out of me, however you want to view that, through purging, energetically removed. And I had some pretty profound visions. So, you know, there was a series of visions ranging from seeing everything and everyone in the universe as one giant ball of energy and light, to going through some form of ego death where I realized that, you know, I was pure energy in the universe and pure love and all these sort of things talk about on ayahuasca. And it was a huge moment in my life, and it was a point that I became incredibly happy. Quit my job because I was like, I don't need to be doing that anymore. That's not good for my health. Quit my job and changed my life, and I think everything that's come in my life since has very much it changed the course of my life. Everything that I have now, everything I feel now, my family and everything, that was a real turning point for me.
Yeah.
And interestingly, when I came back to this song, it took on a new meaning again. And I think you're probably getting the picture now. There's another version of me going to come in this, but there's another line in here. It's see the way he smiles at me, see him talking silently of love. We are one, all fear is gone. And that, to me, after my experiences with ayahuasca, was like, oh, I just felt the oneness that I'd experienced. And through that oneness, I'd let go of so many fears. And I'm not talking about big fears, you know, I'm just talking about all these tiny things that we maybe worry about and have fears about, that, well, did I do that right? Or am I meant to be this person? Or I let go of so much. And that line and the way she sings it, I'm not going to sing it now, but we are one, fear is gone. And I saw myself back in there. I saw myself, who's probably at this stage 39, 40. There was now a third version of me in there. And combine that with some very, really tough, deep, emotional experiences on plant medicines, where I kind of visited my inner child, sat with my inner child, talked a lot of stuff out and did a lot of healing. I was kind of now in this space with Sam Brown, with both my 11-year-old self and my mid-30s self, and I was in there as well. Yeah, and it was like, it was huge, because suddenly there was what felt like a happy ending, you know, or some sort of joy in this space that we were in, or some sort of healing. I would say.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Whew. Thank you for your honesty in sharing this, but I'm really speechless right now. I don't know if we're going to need to edit this part out, because I need to pull myself together here. Mm, mm, mm. So the plant, I this is sort of a technical question. Plant medicine, was there a guide helping you through this, Shub? Someone that would work with you as you
Yeah.
experience?
So these ceremonies that I'm talking about were all in Peru with indigenous shamans leading the ceremonies and guiding the ceremonies with kind of trained facilitators there as well.
Yeah, yeah. So I keep going back to, would Sam Brown have any idea? First of all, it's making me curious what Sam Brown was writing about.
Mm.
Why she put those words and music together, and then how you took them. Which and we all know that one of the gifts that songwriters gives us is that they give us the song, and then the song becomes ours through our personal experience. And you certainly have done this with this, but it's got me so curious. The words just seem so closely linked to your story.
Yeah.
Just curious what Sam Brown was thinking and feeling at that time when she wrote that song. And then would she have any idea, you being one person, just one person that, has felt that?
Mm.
Um, yeah, yeah.
Well, I was thinking about this, Jim, because as part of your book, when you were talking about publishing this story, I know we spoke about publishing lyrics, and you reached out to Sam Brown, and I remember being on the phone, and you were saying, I've reached out to her, and I was like, I never thought of doing that, and then I was going through my mind, man, like if Jim makes contact, maybe, and gives her the
Mm,
context, like, would I reach out? And then I was like, how crazy would that be if you're Sam Brown and she's written this song, God knows how many years ago now. I mean, it's, 1991 or 1990, and someone being like, this is everything it means to me. I'm like, that would be like a lightning bolt out the blue.
yeah,
And I was like, wow, I'm not sure if she, I'm not sure how she would interpret that, whether she would be like, really? That was just some song I wrote, or like
right.
whether she would be honored and touched. I'm like, I just don't know. Um, but yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think I'd do it anyway because it's that person can never really truly appreciate what it is to be on my side. But I don't know. Yeah.
mm, yeah. Uh, yeah, I guess maybe it isn't important for her to know. It just seems important from my perspective as someone that, has been digging into stories with people, how amazing this is. But um, I guess what I want to know, is there any link between As One and your podcast? Um, when you
Mm.
started to develop this idea of doing a podcast about songs, was there any memory of one As One in there, or was there any connection? Just curious.
Yeah, I mean, it was 100% the spark for me. Um, so I guess I'm not going to say where my journey ends with this song, where my journey got to um, currently with this song was um, when I listened to it. Probably, I don't know when I started this podcast. It was probably 8, 9 months ago. I listened to this song. Um, I just done a breathwork class. I was upstairs on my bed. I'd just done some breath work, was feeling pretty amazing, and this song popped into my mind, and I was like, okay, well, I'm up here, the kids are downstairs, I'm gonna listen to this song. I've got my headphones. I'm gonna have my own private moment with this song because I haven't done that in a while. um and I listened to it, and I re-listened to the lyrics, and I felt like a light bulb went on. So I guess you know, that what's happened for me since that era I was talking about with plant medicines is that I fell in love with my partner, and we've got two kids now, a 4-year-old son and a 2-year-old daughter. I became a dad. We're parents. We're responsible parents now. So much changed for me during that time. And I listened to the lyrics, and I just got this strong feeling that maybe she was singing. I say maybe because I don't know, but I got a strong feeling that she was singing to her son, that this was a mother singing to her son like a baby. Um, you know, and it's everything. There's a child in my heart, feel it beat, hear it speak. I took that as like there's a baby in her body. And it's not literal, you know, there's everything around, and the hold me bit, and there's a light in his eyes I can see deep inside. And see the way he smiles at me, see him talking silently of love. That was to me like the one of your children is gazing at you with love before they can even speak, before they have words.
Yeah.
And we are one. Fear is gone. And again, that's something when I became a dad, particularly first time I experienced massively, this rush of absolutely nothing else matters in the world. Like all fear is gone. We like just me, my partner, and my firstborn, we are one. There is nothing else we have to be scared of in this world. Nothing else matters, you know? And it got me emotional. I think I started thinking about her singing to her baby boy. I started thinking about my partner because, you know, I think I've been on my own journey as a dad, but to watch my partner, to watch her give birth, to watch her feed these children, to watch the special bond that a mother has with her children. It was just all flooding in at the time, and I was like, oh my God, I've been listening to this song thinking, Sam Brown is like singing to me and taking it, and then suddenly I was in the picture again with my 11-year-old, my 30-year-old, the other version. Now I was there as a dad, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, no way, we're singing to our, like, she's singing to her son.
Oh.
But there was also this, which is very tough to explain. I don't know how to explain it really. It also felt like a moment for me where I was now in this space with these other versions of myself. I was a father, and I was meant to be. I mean, you know how children look at their parents, these invincible, strong people that can do anything, solve anything. And it was quite a powerful moment to be sort of on one side, be there and feel this beautiful, like opportunity to be that for my kids, but also the weight of responsibility, and to hold it in this picture with what we all ultimately are, as you said at the start, is just the inner child inside. Hold it against the picture of this young boy inside, and experiencing a lot of feelings about, you know, I guess my role is to be this father, and I want so much for my kids in terms of happiness and joy and fulfillment. But also holding the knowledge that I can't ultimately control I can't protect them from everything. Like my younger self, there's some things that you just can't protect them from. A lot of mixed emotions, a great sort of sadness, and that they may ever have to experience something like this, or inevitably they will experience many painful things in their lives. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it was powerful. There was a lot happening for me, and I just realized where I started, what the question was. So I'll get back to that.
Don't
And
worry about that. You've taken it to an amazing place.
I
Oh,
think in that moment, I just thought, like, fuck me. Like, I've been listening to this song for, I mean, I'm 47 now. That is 36 years I've been listening to this song, and it's been with me all my life. And just 6 months ago, ping, light bulb, another thing, another level opened up. I'm like, oh my God. I now think
yeah.
I understand what it's about, and now it's taken on even more meaning to me. Uh, and in that moment, I just thought, man, I wonder if other people are experiencing this. That was the question I asked myself. Um, and things escalate pretty rapidly in my mind, and that question very quickly became, within a week or so, kind of sending out invites for a
Oh,
for a podcast without any idea of whether people were feeling this, how it would work out, or anything. So,
yeah.
uh,
Wow.
yeah,
You just went with the energy and just saw where it took you. And oh, uh, when my mind's going in three different places here, let me start with the most current question. In your experience interviewing people, you've probably done well over a dozen of these. I'm not sure how many you've done so far, but um, are you seeing that? Are you hearing what we've just experienced with you? That this song has been profoundly important in other people's lives. Not this song particularly, but their song. Are
mm,
you hearing that in the interviews, Shub?
yeah, yeah, and I think, like every episode, I'm kind of blown away. I still get blown away when people talk about their connections to songs. Some songs, it's songs they listened to when they were four, and they're still probably their thinking is still unfolding about why it had such an impact. Others are songs they heard in the middle of their life that completely changed the course of their life. And like you mentioned before, there is a theme of people feeling like this song was delivered to them at the right time for a specific reason. Um, People have different views on the why and how they explain it, but they felt it came into their life for a special reason. Um, and yeah, it's a theme. It's a theme that these songs have lived with them. They've taught them things. They've really become a part of their lives, and it's, for a lot of people, it's almost a tool, I guess, either something that finds them when they need something, or that they find it when they need something. Um, it's a kind of a safe place that offers them something, and I think I guess thematically,
Yeah,
that's kind of what's consistent.
it moves music and songs into this sort of spiritual area that it's so different than even even artwork. I don't, even visual arts or writing, I guess, my profession, writing, something about music. Um, and boy, that's the nugget I'm trying to crack with, all this research and listening and talking to people is what is it about music? And, um, I decided we should change the name of this episode of your podcast to One Song, Many Stories, because think, think about, what it meant to you as an 11-year-old, what it meant to you as a, 30s and then later 30s. And now these are individual stories that in themselves are powerful.
Mm,
And yet they sort of are the map of your life in a sense. Um, and I would venture that you're not done with a song, that, you know, someday you may be a grandparent. That's something I'm into in my life right now. And that's a whole profoundly different version
Yeah.
of mother child, father child, grandparent child. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, you know, that to think of it that way is fascinating. That it's, you know, I've got so much life left to live. Um, and this song, I would imagine, would always be there. I don't know in what shape or form, how often it will come into my life, or um, how much I'll feel. But the I would, you can never say never, but I never imagine the vision that I have in my mind when I listen to it. I never imagine the feeling I get when I listen to it. I never imagine that will fade. I feel like it will just deepen and develop and evolve.
yeah.
So it's crazy to think I'm going to be there in like 40 years' time listening to this song that's been with me nearly my whole life. It's just such a crazy relationship to have with a bit of art, I think.
I'm going back to when you opened up the story that you bought the album and the first song on the album. By the way, do you happen to remember the name of that first song on the album?
No, that's a question.
It's
Um,
okay if you don't.
it's April Moon.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the
The album
title
title.
song. Yeah.
But the fact that it hits you in a way that I think you said it sort of knocked you back and knocked you on your bed or something, but it's almost like whatever powers, whatever, what do you want to believe that brings these things, these gifts to us, was saying, you need to sit down and listen.
Mm.
you know, this is something that's going to be a part of your whole life. There's no way you would know that back then, but it almost feels like the fact that even the first song of that album knocked you into a different space.
Yeah.
Um, really, uh, I think it's one of the strong examples of what I've heard from other people talk about this coincidence thing, or this, whatever you want to call it, this that comes into your life. Especially as you told your story so beautifully, an 11-year-old boy that was in such need. And here comes this woman's voice and songs, plural, but, wow. I've heard a lot of people's stories, as I know you have, but I haven't heard a story quite with so many chapters. That's what I mean about one song, many stories. You've really, wow, it really, it's found a way to be useful to you in so many ways. Maybe it's a better way to say it is you found a way to make it useful, even though you didn't intentionally probably go in there saying, I'm going to use the song, but somehow
Mm.
you've made it work for you. And the other thing I want to say before we close up, and then whatever else you want to say, is, now that I know your story, and I know it better now that you've told it to me now, I know the Shub who I love, and you've become a friend over the ocean. Now I know why. This song, oof, it led you to the man you are today.
Yeah. 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 It's crazy to think of it that way. Um, and I think, like you
The,
said
the,
before, it's to step inside that song um, gives me these snapshots of my life, which is very interesting. A lot of other songs, like I think I might have had songs that I love listening to, and then when I went, or you might have had a memory attached to it, and then you go to another country and listen to it there, and maybe
mm,
that then becomes the memory, or everything blurs, and it may lose that potency as a real strong visual. Um, Whereas this song's had the exact opposite. Actually, I step inside it and actually see these very clear milestones of who I was at certain times, as opposed to becoming blurred. It's almost brought my journey into definition. And yeah, I can't wait to
Mm.
see the next version of me that gets added to it and why.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I think each person I can't speak for every person, but when I was interviewed by you, I felt you welcomed me into that space of my song through your experience with As One. I think that's what makes you a good interviewer for this podcast is the potential of the gift of the song and you help us. The song that was my song, I loved it dearly, but now I love it so much more deeply through our interview. So thank you so much. And I should just, is there anything you haven't had a chance to share about this song that you'd like to before we end here? Anything that we didn't get a chance to bring up yet?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Um, I think both through submitting my story for your book um, brought me from like a very, I don't know, I guess I would give the analogy of an ice sculpture, I kind of knew how important this song was to me, but it was just a block of ice in my mind that I'd never really attempted to dig into. It just sat there. And I think when I did the submission for the book, that was when I started really thinking about it and chipping away. And I was like, wow, okay, this is, now I'm starting to really, really sort of process how important this is. Um, and I think this is had the same effect, and I kind of very grateful for you for holding this space and being able to share this with you as the host. But I feel like it's really kind of brought it into even more definition for me. So I'm very grateful for you doing this with me.
Yeah. So for your listeners to know, so when I publish this book, it's not the end. What I've decided is I want to keep going with this project because I love it and I get a lot of enrichment from it, but I think it's good work. Um, Many people have said what you have said and what I experienced with my song that I shared. When you take the time to think about what a song has done for you, it the benefits are far reaching and you wouldn't necessarily think that would be so. It's a song. Okay, it was important to me at one point. But when you put the pieces together like you've done so well, you get to see, oh, okay, that's what that song did for me. I didn't realize that till I took the time. So thank you for your articulation of your personal story. Thank you for your podcast, which gives others the opportunity to do that. And I know hopefully you will also continue this work with your podcast, but I plan to do the same.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't plan on stopping this. I think in how my life is at the moment and um yeah, I guess for me this is not only a chance to connect with people, but it's a chance to connect with people on a much deeper level that sometimes it's not easy to access in everyday life.
Absolutely.
And it's on a deeper
Absolutely.
level of something I'm passionate about, which is music. So I don't plan to stop anytime soon because there's just always someone else with an amazing story that I want to speak to. So yeah,
Yeah,
no, it lights me up. It makes me very happy to do this.
that's wonderful. Wonderful. Shub, thanks for the opportunity. And it was, as always, great to talk with you.
Likewise, Jim. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Bye now.
It's our time. It's our time. It's our time.